Right everyone, welcome back. Hope you all had a good weekend. Today I want to talk about Yannick's reply to NFTs in The Division 2 because it's quite interesting. Also, I want to briefly go over a striker damage breakdown post on Reddit because it appears strikers can get over 90% extra damage, which of course is absolutely huge. It's good to see a forgotten gear set now be not just usable, but a very strong option from a simple change in how it works. Drop a like if you enjoy this one, a dislike if you didn't, and subscribe to stay up to date with all my videos. And let's begin. Firstly, let's talk about NFTs. I made a video a couple of weeks ago titled, "Are NFTs coming soon?" following the news of Ubisoft being the first AAA publisher to make this plunge. Now, if you want to know more about what NFTs are, then I'd highly recommend you do some research. I still really don't understand the reason for their application in gaming. I'm not sure what the benefits of having them in gaming are. I've yet to see a convincing argument. So definitely do your own research on that and make a decision as to whether you want that in gaming or not. Now, this was following the announcement of Ubisoft Quartz, a platform where you can buy and sell NFTs called Digits, and that Ghost Recon Breakpoint would be the first game where you could earn them. I think there was free up for grabs at present. I said in that video this will likely become the norm in future games, the way that loot boxes did, and that The Division might be next on the chopping board. I wasn't the only one who thought this, with many community members speculating that the delay in the Division 2 content is because NFTs are being added at the request of Ubisoft. Yesterday, a tweet from John20981840 to Trick Dempsey and Yannick said the following: "With the recent announcement that Ghost Recon Breakpoint will be getting NFTs, are there plans that the Division 2 will be getting NFTs? Question mark." To which Yannick replied saying, "No, we have no plans to bring NFTs in the Division." So there you have it. Now, I wanted to cover this tiny bit of news, because it really is a tiny bit of news, mainly because I put a poll out today asking if you would like to see NFTs in the Division 2, knowing they were not coming, as per Yannick's reply. Now, some people didn't understand why I put the poll out that I did if I already knew the answer. But there's two reasons why, and I want to get into those because it's interesting. Number one, I'm genuinely interested on what people think about the idea of NFTs in the Division 2. Now, from my own research, like I said, I don't see a reason for them being in gaming. So that's why I don't want them in there. And also, from what I can tell online, I'd say that 10% of people think that NFTs in gaming is a good idea, and I would say the remaining 90% not so. And the poll results that we've got here, I think, reflect that sentiment, although it's from a very small amount of people with only like 400 votes. Number two, whilst I completely trust what Yannick is saying, and I don't think NFTs are coming to the Division 2 ever, it's not really his decision. Massive is owned by Ubisoft, and Yannick has a boss. If Ubisoft decide they want Massive to bring NFTs to the Division 2, whilst I'm sure Yannick and everyone at Massive would protest, or the vast majority anyway, it's really not up to them. That's why Yannick said they have no plans and didn't just say no, they're not coming ever. Do you think the studio and devs of Ghost Recon Breakpoint wanted NFTs in their game? I can tell you that from the hundreds of tweets that I've seen, the majority absolutely do not or did not want NFTs in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but it's not up to them. Ubisoft wanted them in there, and Ubisoft are pushing for NFTs to be included in as something for the future, and I suspect that they're going to be including these in a lot of their games going forward. Trick Dempsey even put out a tweet recently damning the inclusion of NFTs in games. So, if Massive had their way, let's be honest, if Massive had their way and they weren't part of Ubisoft, I think we can all probably agree the Division might have taken a different route, and the Division may have been more popular than it actually currently is. But because they're owned by Ubisoft, and Ubisoft are the publisher, and Ubisoft pretty much say what goes for the most part, if they decide that NFTs are something they want in the Division 2, then it will happen. Because ultimately it's not up to Massive or any studio of Ubisoft. Now, I do think we are going to get NFTs in the Division universe, as I can only see this as the beginning. Ubisoft have said this is the beginning of NFTs in their games. And I actually think NFTs might come with the Division Heartland instead, which is a shame, but I do think it will happen. Moving on, and it's been really nice and exciting to see how the community have taken to the Striker rework. It's a tiny light at the end of a very dark tunnel following the delay in content, but a very welcome one. I still don't have a Striker chess piece myself to test the set out, but thankfully our community are no strangers to working out the potential of sets in the Division, and that's been done here with Strikers. So let's check out this Reddit post which calculates the damage potential of Strikers. Alright, so here's the post from Sagri. It says Strikers damage bonus math stacks are multiplicative with themselves. I want to say thank you very much for this post because it's very informative, and we're going to get into that now. So it says, now that Strikers has been buffed and a lot of people are using it, I wanted to go over how the damage bonus works for those not familiar. The stacks are multiplicative with themselves, they're not additive. Example, one stack increases damage by 0.5% or 1.005. Two stacks increases damage by 1.0025% or 1.010025 times. It doesn't sound like much, but with 50 or 100 stacks, it adds up. At 50 stacks, baseline Strikers has a damage bonus of 28.3% or 1.283 times. And then there's a link to how they worked that calculation out. So baseline Striker is a 28.3% increase in damage, which is pretty good. The chess piece increases stacks from 50 to 100%, which is a total bonus of 64.7%. 1.647 times, and again there's a link to how that was calculated. I highly recommend you check out those links and the calculations. It's pretty interesting, but you can just see here from this damage increase that this is not additive and it's multiplicative anyway. The backpack increases stack damage from 0.5% to 0.65%. On its own at 50 stacks, the Striker bonus is 38.2%, or that's 1.38 times. Another link there, and both backpack and chest piece is 0.65% and 100 stacks, which comes out to a damage bonus of a whopping 91.1% or 1.91 times damage. The backpack is the weakest bonus. On its own, it only improves overall damage by 16%, with the chest piece and at 100 stacks or a measly 7 to 8% without the chest piece at 50 stacks. So it's not that strong. High-end DPS backpack talents can easily surpass that amount. You look at something like Vigilance or any of the other talents which give, Vigilance if it was 25%. So if you put that on top of or instead of the backpack, then this 91% would be higher. Theoretically, only a niche build would use the Striker backpack, and a high-end would have more DPS with a talent that fits your playstyle. The chest piece, on the other hand, improves overall damage by 28.3%. Perfect Glass Cannon or Perfect Focus has a higher damage ceiling than that of the Striker chest piece. Theoretically, I would assume that 4-piece Strikers with Perfect Focus and Sawyer's knee pads would have the highest or one of the highest damage ceilings of the game for the sit back at range playstyle. For full auto guns, and the bonuses are relatively easy to keep up. And then the TLDR Striker 4-piece bonus with 50 stacks, and it's just giving you the bonuses overall again. High-end chest backpack DPS talents can be stronger than the set piece bonus, but the chest piece is the strongest by a wide margin. So basically, if you're having a 4-piece build, then you don't really want to use the backpack. You kind of want to use the chest piece. So you're probably going to want to go with, maybe the mask, chest piece, knee pads, gloves, whatever. But you don't want to be using the backpack as you certainly don't want to be using it as a 6-piece, and you don't really want to be using the backpack. You want to be using the chest piece because that's where you're going to get that extra 28% damage. And of course, that doesn't come at the cost of something like, let's say, for example, Perfect Glass Cannon, which obviously means you take on, extra 60% damage. You take that on, so it doesn't come at, you get the benefit of almost that 30% damage that you would get from Perfect Glass Cannon. By only minus 1.7%, but then you don't take on that 60% extra damage, which is also very good. Perfect Focus obviously requires you to meet certain parameters in order to get that. So yeah, the chest piece overall really is kind of the best piece. You're not getting the highest damage, but you're almost there, and you're not limited by by other talents from that chest piece. But you don't want to be using the backpack. You want to be using something like vigilance or something else that's going to give you quite a lot of damage. But that's it, guys. That's really all I wanted to go over. I think that I've not tested this myself, but this is perfect. You know, if you're wondering how strong Striker is in this game right now, following the changes, this is how strong it is. You're looking at 90% plus extra damage if used properly. And those stacks are pretty easy to keep up as well, especially, as it says here, especially if you're using full auto guns. And if you, what I will say, guys, is you might want to use the Memento backpack. I know a lot of people are using that because it is very strong. If you can keep the stacks up on Memento, then you're going to get crazy amount of damage from that. You don't need Vigilance, whatever. Memento will work the best there. So there you go, guys. That's it for today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. Drop a like down below if you did, a dislike if you didn't. Thanks if you stuck around all the way until the end. Until the next one, Epic out.